What do you do when you learn your new next door neighbor is a real life vampire? Well, if you're anything like naive teenager Charlie Brewster, you call TV vampire killer Peter Vincent to help you destroy the evil monster forever. One of the quintessential horror flicks of the 1980s, and quite possibly the greatest vampire movie ever made. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you, dear listener, to Fright Night. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And I'm Austin Johnson.
And this is Filmgazm. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to episode 107 of the Filmgazm podcast. You may have noticed a recent surplus of Oscar Sunday episodes in your feed. That's because we recently combined the Filmgazm and Oscar Sunday podcast feeds, so all of our content is in one place. It's easier for you to find, and it's easier for us to post. Whenever we launch our potential new shows in the future, you'll find those in the same feed. If you want to listen to them, awesome. If not, we'll still have plenty of horror flicks to talk about every Wednesday. And boy, oh boy, do we have a good one today.
Oh, yes.
One I've been wanting to do for a long time, and Halloween seemed like the best time to finally do it. 1985's Fright Night.
First time here.
Oh my God, I can't imagine just seeing this film for the first time. I don't even remember the first time I saw this.
Oh, I do. It was last night, or two nights ago, and I actually got to watch the remake as well from 2011.
Fantastic.
Rest in peace, Anton Yelchin. We don't believe we've been able to shout him out before on the podcast.
No, this is the first time we brought up Anton for sure.
So surely he'll come up, Alpha Dog.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's in some interesting flicks, right? So, yeah, I actually enjoyed it. Usually those suck, right? You know, there's almost 30 years in between, and you're like, this actually was pretty good.
Horror remakes, as a rule, I either discount them or I watch them and they fucking suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Fright Night is such a gem that it put a little bit of that magic into the remake somehow, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was able to see both of these for the first time the past couple days, and a lot of fun. You know, I'm not very well versed in vampire movies, right? I mean, that's something that you're a lot more knowledgeable about. So I'm going to have some fun talking about this one, though, and some other vampire flicks later down in the episode. It's going to be fun. But yeah, Fright Night, man, it's rated R for a reason. In 1985, that's rare, right?
Yeah.
Shit, it's a wild flick, and you didn't really tell me too much. You were like, you said it's a little outdated, but the makeup's awesome. Those are true, but you didn't tell me much about the plot or how fucking scary it is. Goddamn.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking scary. Before we get into it too much, I do have one update for the Rewind. Mm-hmm. And this update's our recent episode 101 on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, yes.
There is a new sequel in the works. It has been announced earlier today with a new teaser poster. It's going to be a direct sequel to the original film, Halloween style, discounting all the shit. And boy, is there a lot of shit in this franchise. And it is set for a 2021 release. Here's hoping this one works out, because they have tried this before and it has fucking failed every time.
I'm ready, man. Oh my God, this movie. We did it recently, right? And it's on Criterion now, part of their 70s horror classics.
That's beautiful that a film like this can get up on the Criterion collection.
Well, yeah, you should check it out. There's a couple David Cronenberg movies in there. There's, Season of the Witch. There's, Let's Scare Jessica to Death. There's all these weirdo, wacko Death Dream, Videodrome, all this Cronenberg shit. All this stuff is on there now on Criterion because they know it's October.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I adore it, and I'm ready for that because of how we've seen some success, especially with Halloween 2018, if it's taken care of properly, and you do that, kind of disregard everything that happened. It can be. I'm really excited to see. Oh my God! So she drove away, and now we're coming back to that. Like, here we go. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. What happened after she drove away from the cannibal family? Like, just obviously, severe trauma and probably, decades of therapy.
Yeah, you nap-headed idiot.
Oh, my God. I would love to find out, like, what does she do now? Like, did she go to the cops? Like, did they ever find these people?
Well, is this guy that's driving in the truck a part of this now? Like, you're roped in, motherfucker. Yeah.
Did he just turn the fuck around and drop her back off at the house?
This is not... Yeah, I'm good on this. I don't want... Yeah. Or, yeah, is he a part of the whole... who knows? I'm excited.
Yeah.
There's things there. And when you bypass everything like Halloween did, you can really hone in and make a nice little project.
Well, and Fede Alvarez is spearheading it.
There you go.
He rebooted Evil Dead to surprising success.
Yes.
So here we go. Give him the reins. I'm down. Let's see how this goes down.
Yeah, again, 1974. So it's been a long time, and that's 1978 to 2018 for Halloween. So when you bypass everything, that's a huge gap.
Yes, indeed. But it's not like there's no continuity in that franchise at all.
Oh my God, no. And my oldest brother Adam is in that 2010 one, Texas Chainsaw, like 3D or whatever.
Oh my God.
They drove to Louisiana, him and his friend, they were like extras in whatever part of it, but he's never seen the 1974 one.
God damn. I've heard that's the worst one.
Oh yeah, hands down. That's the one with that rapper Trey Songz or one of those guys, and then Alexandra Daddario is she's in it.
She's better.
She's
than
like
that.
the main one. Yeah,
she's better than that.
So, yeah, no, sad stuff.
My buddy Caleb, who adores most of this franchise, loves Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Fucking hated Texas Chainsaw 3D. So that should tell you all you need to know about that movie.
Exactly.
So, first time with Fright Night. Had you heard of this film?
Oh yeah. It's one of those like once you break into a certain horror community or a friendship or whatever it may be, you're in some kind of circle, and that would definitely be like when I met you, and I have some other buddies, my friends Andrew and Juwan who are into horror, and we'll talk about it and stuff, and my buddy Isaac and my buddy Grant. I have decent amount of friends who are into it, and it's just kind of like a movie that's been tossed around, or have you seen this? And then when I was around you, you were like, this is a must-see kind of thing. And I knew it would come up on the podcast. I just didn't know when. And it feels right. It feels right for October, and I love adding a movie to like my October rotation.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one that I'll revisit in other Octobers in the future. I kind of have like a weird permanent rotation.
Oh, we all do.
Like, strange movies. I'll leave that there. Maybe one day we'll do that as a podcast or something. Just weird personal Halloween rotations. But this has kind of joined that gauntlet of whatever 30 movies. If I have 31 movies that I would hypothetically watch throughout October, this could be in there. It is certainly the most well done in the makeup department vampire movie I've seen, like by a quarter mile. The music at times sure is outdated, but also at times is very creepy. And then the kind of tone, the kind of sexy tone, but creepy tone, but never really gets cheesy tone. I don't know. It kind of stayed on this weird line, but never, it just kept teetering everything. And I love that. I love when a film keeps you guessing like that. And it's rare for a vampire movie to do that, to really keep you guessing on what the plot's going to do and what's going to happen here. And I don't know. I found it to be refreshing in the vampire subgenre. Haven't seen a lot, but I think it's one of the better ones I've ever seen.
Well, for me, like I'm a big fan of vampires.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, listeners, but I have personally written 3 novels, vampire westerns actually, Consequence, Devil's Blood, and Meadowsweet, available on Amazon.com if you want to help me out. They're really good.
Hell yeah.
But Fright Night was such an inspiration behind the bad guy in my book.
I see it now, yeah.
And I have a character, a random like side character named Mrs. Dandridge, who just drops something off at one point. Like Fright Night and Blade are the 2 films that that were the biggest influences behind my own work. So I am such a fan of this movie. It's such a treat to watch this. Mm-hmm. It's just so entertaining. It's so wild. It doesn't feel like anything else.
Yeah.
And that's amazing for an 80s horror film, an 80s vampire movie. To be unique. I mean, this was 2 years before The Lost Boys and Near Dark. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this film doesn't come up in the conversation as much as it should.
Yes.
And I've always wanted to bring this to the podcast, which it just never seemed like the right time. I wanted to wait till we were ready, till we had a reason, and here we are.
Yeah, it feels right.
Feels right. Oh, boy. Fright Night.
Yeah, 1985. How cool is that? We just did Back to the Future, which is like your favorite movie ever.
I know.
And Fright Night's your favorite vampire movie.
It's a great week.
That's fun stuff, yeah.
Fright Night was written and directed by Tom Holland. Not Spider-Man Tom Holland, but 80s Tom Holland. The guy who also directed Child's Play and Thinner. He conceived the idea while writing the script for the 1984 spy adventure Cloak and Dagger. He was amused by the idea of a horror geek actually stumbling onto a real-life monster and nobody believing him. Once he got the idea that the geek would go to his local monster movie TV host for help, everything else just sort of fell into place. And it does feel like lightning in a bottle. The idea is so simple.
Yeah.
You know, nerdy kid sees his next door neighbor is a vampire. And what do?
Yeah. The age you are, nobody's listening to you. You're crazy. Come on, stop your seeing stuff. Oh, are you on pot? You know, all that. It is simple and easy. And God, his friend, evil. What's his name?
Evil Ed, yeah.
Evil Ed. Jeez.
You're so cool, Brewster. I'm like,
that voice. They must have caught him right before puberty, when his voice is cracking a bit, and yeah. It was amazing. It was honestly amazing that he kept it up the entire time.
A lot of the people I know who like this movie fucking hate him.
I understand that. If I watch this a few more times, I probably will end up hating him too. But for this time, he was just kind of funny.
I like him over McLovin personally, but you know that's just me.
I am McLovin.
Oscar nominee Chris Sarandon stars as Jerry Dandridge, one of the most underrated horror villains of all time. Sarandon was nominated for his performance in 1975's Dog Day Afternoon, and is also known for playing the characters of Prince Humperdinck in The Princess Bride and Jack Skellington in The Nightmare Before Christmas. He's also appeared in such films as Child's Play, The Sentinel, and he had a cameo in the 2011 Fright Night remake as the driver who gets killed by the new Jerry. How cool is that?
Jesus. Perfect.
His character's name, JD. Chris Sarandon is one of my favorite actors of the 80s, and I will never forgive Hollywood for not giving him a chance.
Sucks.
Jerry Dandridge is the closest Hollywood has ever gotten to doing Dracula right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do know that. I do know that there's been the representation for this, which makes no sense, for this character, this all-time, fictional character, right? Dracula that can be used over and over and over and just not ever very well. It's sad, and this kind of a take on it is so smart.
Well, I'm well aware that Jerry Dandridge is not Dracula, but just the way the character is portrayed, it feels like Dracula. it's
an 80s Dracula.
It's 80s Dracula, yeah. He's this, sexy, mysterious stranger.
Yes.
With, just a lust for death, destruction, blood, and evil.
Yeah.
But with that weird sensual side that only a vampire can have. It's captured so well. All pieces of the vampire mythos are at work here, making this perfect villain who just freaks me out every time I see him.
Yeah, and he because he's going for it and so committed, he makes it's almost like, I'm okay if you make fun of me, because I know I'm doing something, and I'm doing something wild and wacky, but I'm going for it. And so when you see stuff like in, What We Do in the Shadows and stuff like that, it's kind of like, poking at it and stuff and having fun with it. I like that. I like how it's kind of, the vampire realm is like open doors where they understand there's going to be parodies. They understand that it's kind of silly. But if you go for it like Chris, it can really work.
Yeah. I mean, he's fully committed to playing an evil psychopath here, but with a weird humanity that makes him like relatable. You like Jerry sometimes.
Oh,
he's charming.
For sure. And man, I couldn't escape Mark Ruffalo.
He just looks so much like Ruffalo.
I just kept seeing Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo. Like the kids are all right, Mark Ruffalo. Like 10 years ago, Mark Ruffalo. Fuck. Get him out of my head.
I just like the wardrobe, the gray trench coat with like the black scarf. It's what a vampire would wear in 1985.
Yeah.
A trench coat is the modern day cape.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that's interesting about not just vampire movies, but horror movies, as you can kind of see them through the decades, right? Depending on the wardrobe and that sort of thing. And this one does the 80s thing right. Not a big fan of Lost Boys over here.
Yeah.
On this side of the microphone. That's the cheese. That's the Not for me. Like, two 80s. All outdated. Not just aspects of it. Fright Night has, like, the makeup and, the scary moments and the awesome villain. The other one doesn't. And there's a lot of 80s horror movies that lack that actual, like, girth, that meat. And because they teeter with the cheesy thing. But this one, for whatever, I can't put my finger on it. I've just seen it once, so I need to see it more to really put my finger on it. But you're so right. His performance is so enticing and so, like, dare I say, attractive.
Yeah. You get seduced just like they do.
Am I watching John F. Kennedy or something? What's going on?
I don't know what it is, but
he's got this, like, steely fucking eyes, and you're just looking at him, and you're just looking at, he's about to bite this lady. I don't care.
Yeah, but goddamn, even when he's like, faking being human, there's something like so tantalizing about his company.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, man, but yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it. And I think Mark Ruffalo has had that before in his career and can have that.
Oh, that Ruffalo has fucking nothing to do with this movie, but he just
I see him if this were to be made right now. Or 10 years ago. Even though they did it 11 or 9 years ago. I think he would do really well at it.
If they were going for like a shot-for-shot kind of remake, I could see Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, really trying to capture the exact 85
and
magic.
I'm glad they didn't do that, because that would have been a huge mistake.
It would have been a nightmare, so.
My God. Oh, yeah, we'll talk.
Mark Ruffalo's never been talked about this much on any podcast we've done. We love you.
We'll talk more about Jerry when we get into the plot. William Ragsdale plays Charlie Brewster. Dumb kid who doesn't really handle this whole thing in the smartest way.
No, not necessarily, no.
Ragsdale went to TV after Fright Night, appearing in substantial roles on shows such as Herman's Head, Brother's Keeper, Grosse Pointe, Judging Amy, and Justified. And Charlie, I get that this is a weird situation, that you wouldn't really know how to handle it, but if you are watching horror movies day in, day out, I feel like you'd know better than to go to the cops.
Yeah.
I mean, when there's no doubt about it that this guy is a vampire and you are on his shit list, you need to think of something, and you need to think of something fast.
Yeah.
Charlie's whole strategy is accuse him openly to people who are never going to believe a word he's saying.
Yeah. Fucking Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone does a better job of acting on the fly. Jesus.
Wow.
And he's got two bozos coming after him. You got your life on the line. You got to really pick it up.
Yeah. Dude, the scene when Jerry just shows up in his room at night and is like, well, we have a problem, don't we, Charlie? Like, Jesus Christ, man. It's fucking tense. When he just, like, grabs the nailed down window and just chucks it up like it's nothing.
Power. Sheer power.
God damn. Oh. Love that. Roddy McDowall plays hammy TV show host Peter Vincent. Very obviously named after Peter Cushing and Vincent Price.
Mm-hmm.
McDowell is also known for his role as Cornelius in Planet of the Apes and as Caesar in the Planet of the Apes sequels. Some of his other films include The Legend of Hell House, The Poseidon Adventure, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Evil Under the Sun, and he was the voice of the Mad Hatter on Batman the Animated Series. He passed away in 1998 at age 70 from lung cancer, but he was always one of those guys who just kind of did everything. Roddy McDowall popped up all over the map for 30, 40 years. And Peter Vincent is his crowning achievement. I love this character
as far as I'm concerned.
So much. This hammy, out-of-work Vincent Price, who is so desperate for money he's willing to get involved in this situation, but yet manages to summon the courage to actually handle it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, throughout this movie, throughout the 2 hours, you're like, oh, that guy really had to step up.
Yeah. I mean, when he just, like, somebody, I don't remember how it happened, but he got really freaked out at the end and, like, bolted out the door, like Cowardly Lion style. I love that scene because I always imagine if he just doesn't come back, everyone dies. But he does come back and he handles this shit. I love that. I mean, at the end they're all hugging because they did it. Roddy McDowall was a perfect choice for this.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda Beers plays Amy, Charlie's girlfriend. Beers played the part of Marcy Darcy on Married with Children, as well as various other bit parts in film and TV, but never really anything that substantial. And she does do the convention circuit. when Amy becomes a vampire and she's inexplicably like way hotter for some reason.
Yeah.
She's wearing fake boobs, and she travels to conventions with those boobs and encourages fans to touch her breasts as she signs autographs.
Oh, that's really odd. Amanda Beers.
I don't think she's wearing them while she's doing that, but I don't know. Stephen Jeffries plays Evil Ed, Charlie's best friend turned evil vampire slave. Surprisingly, after Fright Night, Jeffries became a hardcore gay porn star under the aliases of Sam Ritter and Stefan Bordeaux. So that was his future, yeah. I was looking at his filmography and I started seeing titles that were like, what the fuck? And
it's never happened.
No.
I've never tripped up on a like porn stars IMDb, but here we are, Evil Ed.
It's a pop quiz. Stefan Bordeaux.
Yeah, that's a great name. That is a great name.
God damn.
I'm Stefan.
But
Stefan Bordeaux.
You don't understand. Like I was looking for, highlights, and then all of a sudden I'm in a gay porn list.
Like, well, these are not these might be highlights for somebody, but not Filmgazm. Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
Stefan. Yeah,
Stefan.
Stefan.
Stephen Bordeaux is an attorney somewhere. Stefan Bordeaux
is a porn star.
Is a little known late 80s gay porn star. Yeah, I didn't know this conversation was going here when I started putting this together.
Mark Ruffalo and
gay porn.
Yeah.
We're hitting some firsts on this podcast. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Jonathan Stark plays Billy Cole, Jerry's odd, ghoulish keeper. Stark became a TV producer, produced such hit shows as Ellen, The Drew Carey Show, and According to Jim.
And all those pornos that Stephen Jeffries was in.
You imagine? They just went into business. I see something in you, kid. I don't know what it is. He's the Burt Reynolds to Stephen Jeffries, Mark Wahlberg. My God.
Oh, Jesus.
The way... this was a hit. Stephen Jeffries didn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He just wanted to. He was literally like, I'm leaving Hollywood to go fuck guys on camera.
This is my passion.
This is my passion.
I'm Evil Ed. In bed.
He should have done a Fright Night parody called that. Oh my God.
I'm sure it exists.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Oh wow.
How much money did this movie fucking make? Like, was it a hit when it came out?
Yeah, actually it was. Fright Night has an IMDb score of 7.1, Rotten Tomatoes score of 92%, grossed nearly $25 million on a budget of roughly $9 million. So
yeah, typical horror. Yeah.
Nobody
Getting its money.
Nobody expected this to work. Like they were, the studio was developing several films at the same time, and this was considered an afterthought. So they just let Tom Holland do whatever he wanted, and that's why we have this.
Not Spider-Man. Yeah. Different guy.
It always weirds me out. Like Steve McQueen, for instance. Every time I'm watching a Steve McQueen movie or he comes up in conversation, I just keep picturing fucking, The Great Escape on the bike.
Yes.
And I'm like, nope, that's not the right Steve McQueen. Yeah. One of them, like, he shouldn't be allowed to call himself that when there is a famous Steve McQueen.
It should be Stephen McQueen.
Stephen.
Something else.
Stefan McQueen.
Stefan Bordeaux McQueen.
Yeah, that would work.
God damn it.
Oh my God. Like, Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas, but he can't call himself Michael Douglas.
Yes, Michael Keaton Douglas. Yeah.
Tom Holland. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, it's a surprise hit because
I would love for Spider-Man to be called Tommy Holland.
Oh my God.
Tommy Holland. Tommy Holland playing Spider-Man. Yeah, that'd be great.
He looks like a Tommy.
Yeah.
Guy looks 12 years old.
Tommy. Tommy.
Fright Night has since been rightfully described as a horror cult classic, spawned one sequel and one remake. And with that, let's talk about this movie. So, what are some scenes in Fright Night that really, like, you said it was scary. What got to you?
It's the makeup. It's the transformation, especially Jerry's the first time you see him, you're like, oh, this movie's gonna try to make me jump here. All right. And then the girlfriend.
Oh, the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some Itchy the Killer shit. Yeah. I really dug that. The makeup department, can't say enough about it. That's where this movie has its gold. But then, atmospheric wise, I really like when Charlie's watching Jerry for kind of that first time across the way, and
that's a great scene.
He sees his fingers kind of warm,
The mouth, just the teeth. Oh, God.
That stuff's really not easy to do, You look into what it takes to do that stuff in the 80s to really make it work, and it's just not easy. And I thought all of that technical stuff was on point. Like 10 out of 10 type stuff. And, then I have my personal just preferences with, some of the music or some of the pace isn't, like, totally for me, but that's expected, right? It's a vampire movie from 85. But I totally get why you love it. It is right in your wheelhouse. And I'm really, really, really glad I got to watch it. I love that it's a part of this October run. It just kind of made sense, we did something we hadn't seen at all, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance before, but I think it's cool that you got to pick kind of like a banger.
Yeah, we're a horror podcast, so October's big.
Of course, yeah. And no, to me, like October and November, they're kind of like that area of the year is always for like creepy movies.
Yeah,
I've always felt that way. So November, we're not gonna really stop. It's gonna be awesome movies in November too.
No, it's not like we're gonna have awesome movies in October and then just give you some shit in November. It's not how we roll.
No, and then December, if I'm not mistaken, we got some like kind of like cold movies.
Oh, y'all gonna like December?
Cold. Some movies that make you gotta get on the fucking blanket for. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, I think one of the unsung heroes of Fright Night is Brad Fiedel and his incredible 80s synth score for this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so eerie, but also a little cheesy at times.
It teeters. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's sexy. It's a sexy score. And if you don't know, Brad Fiedel is also the guy who did the music for the Terminator franchise. Mm-hmm. And he's just a rock star who I don't think gets enough credit.
No, those guys rarely do, right?
I know. The score might be my favorite part of a movie. The music, the atmosphere it sets.
It can be.
It's so beautiful. I would say that An American Werewolf in London broke makeup barriers for werewolf movies, and I think this movie broke makeup barriers for vampire movies.
That's a great point.
Because that first scene where you meet Jerry, unofficially, like you meet him officially later on, but when you first see Jerry, he's making out with this hot woman. Charlie's like, "Oh yeah, baby," and gets some binoculars and is like, "This is hot," and then sees Jerry's fingers, and they're long and creepy, and then he looks up at his face and he's got fangs. I love that bit of Jerry going down to bite the girl and then just looking up at Charlie. It's so eerie.
What's up, buddy?
Like, you like what you see?
Yeah.
You're next.
Yeah. I'm coming after you and the people you love, too.
And then later on, when we meet Jerry officially, and he's just sitting in this house, you see him again from his hand first.
Yes.
And he's just tapping, and the music kicks in, and you're like, fuck, he's in the house.
That guy's weird.
Oh, and he just leans over so cheerfully, like, hello, Charlie.
Yeah, no, he's all of that stuff with Charlie is grade A. It's grade A. It's one of my favorite things in this realm, in this genre, in horror and in thrillers, is when the whole audience knows what's happening.
Yeah.
The whole audience knows there's an evil fucker and knows that there's a kid who's gonna have a hard time here. And when you know these things and they kind of have like a showdown of, I know and you know, but no one else believes you. I'm an adult and you're a fucking kid. I love those scenes if they can be done very well. And the mom doesn't know what's happening and the son's like, fuck. I'm going to sound crazy because I'm going to blurt out that this guy's a vampire. They're going to, all those things, movies, smoke too much pot, all that crap. But it's so real. Chris pulls it off. He pulls off those moments of like, I'm so sexy that your mom doesn't give a fuck. Doesn't give a fuck what you think. Because I am hot. And your mom is looking at me and wouldn't even believe that I'm a vampire because I'm so good looking. So you can't play this game with me. Yeah. And I like that. Movies have done that forever. And I like immediately thought of, Disturbia does this exact thing. Oh, there's a murderer, in the house next to us. I'm on a house arrest. There's nothing I can do about it. What am I going to do? And I love those scenarios when you and him know, because I saw you. I saw your fucking fingers. I saw you, you killed that person. But they're never going to tell, never going to tell the truth. And you know that, and they know that. And that's such a great trope for this genre.
Yeah.
And it's been done many, many times. But this is, to me, one of the best ways it's done ever within the genre is, I know, it's in the room, elephant in the room, but I'm going to defeat you, sort of thing.
Well, the dialogue that, Jerry implies that he tells Charlie, what's the matter? You were worried I wasn't going to come over without being invited first?
Yeah.
He knows that Charlie knows
yes.
that he knows. It's just an endless thing.
All on the table. Yeah.
He's like, now that I have been invited, I'm going to come over all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever I feel like it.
I think I'll take that offer up, He's like, of course, with permission, Yeah. He knows. Yeah. It's incredible when a movie does that early. And this movie does it really early. And I'd say those, beginning stages are crucial of not being too cheesy, where you're like, you get locked in, because early on you're scared. Early on you're like, oh, let Jerry guy's for real.
Yeah.
He's not just this, kind of goofy, sexy vampire. No, he's pretty lethal. This guy's pretty lethal. When he transforms, oh boy. Good God, the eyes, the hair was so impressive to me. How do they do this stuff, This is the shit from the 70s and 80s in the horror genre, and Tom Savini's out there. How do they do this stuff?
I don't know. It's amazing. It's like a superpower.
How do you do this when I'm watching movies now that spend uber amount of money and they don't look nearly as good as these movies? Why?
Practicality has always looked better.
Yes, and Filmgazm, I'd say that's one of the pillars of this podcast is practicality. How we appreciate it, we adore it, and we know it's necessary for this genre, because...
And we can always tell. Yeah. We can always tell.
100%, and it's gorgeous. I really recommend people who, if you haven't seen Fright Night, I would hope you have, but just, it's one of those kind of technical, there's some wizardry going on. And if you like that part of horror, it's a must-see.
Jerry's first transformation is jarring.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what his true form is.
This or the transformation in American Werewolf.
Oh, werewolf, obviously.
I was curious. Me too.
This is still really good.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
that's that one. That movie's incredible. Yeah.
This is and it's such a great scene, because it really does look like we're gonna lose Charlie pretty early on in this movie. Yeah. Jerry doesn't waste any time.
Yeah.
Just comes right out of the fucking closet. It's just like,
which is all time. When you have a kid looking out the window, fucking Home Alone style, and the lights, looking at the lights, and then behind him is just dead silent fucking vampire shit. The door's closed behind him. That's money. That's the money spot right there. Is I feel that way when I'm watching fucking Halloween. When you there he is.
Yep.
That right there. There he is. There she is. There it is. Is what we come to horror for, is that power, that force of here it comes, There's nothing you can do. He's right behind you.
Yeah. How is this, roughly 16-year-old gonna take out this centuries-old vampire who has no doubt handled this kind of situation many times in the past? Jesus. You don't stay hidden for 400 years without killing a lot of witnesses. But I love that, Charlie ends up catching him off guard with the pencil.
Yeah.
And then that sets Jerry off. Suddenly, sexy Jerry is gone, and we get to see the vampire, the monster. And it's a different situation now. And then we, later on, just to piss him off, Jerry trashes Charlie's car because of that. I love it. He calls him and is like, I just destroyed your car. He's got his hand leaking into a bottle of water.
You little prick.
It's like, it's coming. I'm not going to tell you when, but it's fucking coming, Charlie.
I'm going to play these little pranks on you for now, but I'm going to kill you. Holy shit.
With that pencil stick, Charlie made it personal.
For sure.
At first, it was just taking out the trash, but now this is war.
Yeah, you got to kill a guy like that. You got to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like in Fargo, which has been going on. Have you been keeping up with that?
I haven't.
Yeah, there was one decision somebody made where I was like, you probably should have killed that guy.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah.
You don't leave him be if you hurt him like that.
Never, kill somebody's whole family or destroy everything they love and then leave them alive. Never do that.
Or the scariest men to me are the ones that have nothing left and you hurt them. You just give them a mark or a scar and they're like, I'll remember that. Like Bill the Butcher. You don't, that guy has nothing to lose. Nothing. and he will defeat you. You know, he's like, I am like nothing. You know, you're holding on to emotion. I have no emotions.
I'm New York.
Yeah, and that's we love characters like that, obviously, you know, and we love a character like Jerry who's just fucking heartless.
There's few things in films more enticing than a well-rounded villain.
A villain who has like, no, I don't have family. I am my family.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is like my craft is like evil. Ugh. Ugh.
And Charlie's friends all think he's completely full of shit.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah. And of course,
Amy
the
thinks
little fucking porn star Evil Ed, you know. He's he's the worst. I mean, he's the worst right from the get-go before we even know anything about vampires when he's like making fun of him about the pop quiz.
Yeah.
You dickhead. Stop being a dickhead friend. He's I'm not the one failing trig. How about you help your friend
My God.
with his trig homework? How about that? I wasn't very good at school, so I feel for Charlie there. Like, trig? Come on, it's not easy.
Charlie's relationship with Amy is a little complicated.
Extremely.
I
don't get it.
Charlie's kind of a dick.
Oh, he is a dick.
The way that he, you know,
especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
He's a completely different person than the rest of the movie at the beginning. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, if a vampire suddenly came
Yes,
into my life, I'm going to be a
yes.
different person too.
Yeah, exactly. But this movie could have gone a route where he's like fucking Emilio Estevez in the Breakfast Club, where you're like, I don't really like this guy. You know, this guy's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
He's
Because a
sympathetic.
vampire comes into his life.
Well, he said, you know, when Amy doesn't want to sleep with him, he's like, "Come on, we've been going at it for months. What the hell?"
Yeah, he's like, we've been dating for and
What a that's
and you like, oh, you know what I want, you know? And you're like,
What an asshole.
Jesus, they're really not hiding this at all.
whereas later on, Jerry treats her with dignity and respect,
And he's hotter.
and
so
he's
yeah.
considerably hotter.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to make a choice,
Come on.
that's a 2-second thought right there. And
If that. Jerry or Jerry.
yeah, it's pretty instant. But this is great. This is I'm having so much fun. So, what do you think about Amy looking like Jerry's long lost like past love? Because
Yeah, what is that? I feel like you probably know a little bit more about. Is there anything with that? Because it's got to be something that he's longing for, or
there's nothing to that. There's
it just is.
It's something they added in to make Jerry feel a little bit more human.
Like, oh, I love this person. Yeah.
I think it's forced. I don't think it really matters. I think it would have been better if he just like seduced Amy just to fuck with Charlie. I think that makes more sense for his character than like longing for somebody.
For sure.
But
Because then you do bring the humanity into it, and you don't really want that. With the villain, you kind of want him to just be like we said, nothing to lose. Fuck it all.
yeah.
But deep down, even monsters like have something to lose. I guess that's kind of like the cinematic value of like those villains is like Thanos.
Yeah.
Even Thanos has something to lose, even though he doesn't want to fucking admit it, you know, or he's like, oh, this has to happen. Yeah, he surely thought about all the death that he's causing, and you know, characters like that, like surely, but they want to have the facade of like, I don't give a fuck, but deep down, Jerry does give a fuck.
Yeah. Yes, he does. I mean, he's got this Billy Cole guy.
Yeah.
Who took me years to figure out what the fuck this guy is. And I finally figured it out. I am like 80% sure this guy is a ghoul.
Okay, goblins and ghouls. Yes.
Yeah. A ghoul is a human-like figure who hangs around graveyards, feeds on human flesh.
Yes.
Mostly dead bodies.
Yeah, Morrissey in what's the Smith song where he says, belligerent ghouls run Manchester schools. I cannot remember. But that's a great line, saying that ghouls run the schools. Which, when I looked that up, I was like, oh, that's people who hang out by graveyards? Like, Jesus, Morrissey. You really don't like the Manchester school system.
But it makes sense that Jerry would have this weird creature just kind of protecting him during the day. They never went after Jerry in the daytime. Never. He's gonna. You know where he's gonna be. You know what he's gonna be doing.
Yes.
They went after him at 1 a.m. God damn it, Charlie.
Prime time.
Jesus Christ. I love Peter Vincent's weird Fright Night TV show. It's
perfect.
It's so. We all know what that is. We've all seen that. You know. Elvira and all that shit, movie of the week.
Yes.
And Roddy McDowall plays him with such like disdain for everybody, even though he's, a $200 a week actor.
Yes. Yeah.
At that. I love when they go to talk to him after Charlie embarrasses himself with Peter Vincent, and Ed and Amy go to talk to him to try to convince him to do a fake vampire test on Jerry. And he's like, well, I'm far too busy to help you. I have just been offered a major role in a film. And they're like, we can give you money. And he's like, how much? Like immediately like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone gives up eventually. Yeah.
I love that. And it's so cool the way they turn Peter Vincent, the way they make him realize, oh shit, this is real.
Oh, yeah.
The mirror. It was so smart.
I love that. That's the stuff. That's the best parts of this movie is those technical things, those little decisions to like reveal, transform, and scare. All those are used for tactics, and it's great.
And then, he leaves the sliver of mirror on the floor. Jerry finds it and is like, fuck.
Yeah.
They know.
He knows that they know.
And I think the scariest scene in this film is when he hunts Ed. Because Ed is still on the fence about this. He thinks Charlie's full of shit, but then he sees Jerry in an alley and he's like, why are you here? What's going on? And he instinctively just starts running. Because he's like, was Charlie right?
Well, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Good call. Yeah.
And then, Jerry just keeps popping up. It's creepy. It's that,
Yeah.
You run this way and then he's right in front of you and you run back and he's right in front of you again. It's creepy. And he bites Ed. And they hear him screaming and they're like, oh, it's fucking Ed pranking us again.
Yep.
But nope, he comes back with a fucking fire.
Oh my god, yeah. Evil Ed.
Oh yeah.
Evil Ed.
Evilest Ed. My god. And he was later on Evil Ed in bed. Remember when Peter Vincent goes to Charlie's house?
That's right. How about that? So the
foreshadowing.
Yes. So the porn star career makes sense now.
Good for you know what? Good for Stephen Jeffries. He knew what he wanted out of life and he fucking took it.
Stephen Jeffries or Stephane Bordeaux. Yes.
Fucking Stephen Jeffries, he took it by the balls.
He did.
He took life by the balls. Many different pairs of balls.
Yes. Good man.
Fucking hell, man. Oh boy. So let's talk about the finale.
Yes. Which is one of the better parts of the movie, which is good because we know how horror can be. Sometimes the finale is
true. Before we get to that though, I forgot to bring up the scene that I think dates this movie the most is the dance club scene.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Jerry's hunting Charlie and Amy through the streets of who knows. And they end up in a dance club and Jerry gets in there and suddenly he's in like a turtleneck.
This is tough. Because I do like the walking like back and forth.
It was done well. I think it's the song choice.
Yep.
It's the, people don't really dance club anymore. Not like that.
Yeah, which I'm okay sometimes with the movie showing its date.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is probably the part that outdates it the most.
And I think the music, I think Jay Giles' band did the theme song to the movie.
Which is like hilarious, yeah. you would have rather that be, like The Who, yeah.
Every song on the soundtrack does not sound like it was made for this movie.
Yeah, no. It's kind of like Prince with Batman.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going on here? But like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'll never understand why, but you know what? I like a lot of those songs.
Me too. I think that's kind of like what can hold back a movie sometimes from like being like 1989 Batman. Like what holds it back from being like a 10 out of 10 for me. It is like those little things.
Yeah.
Well, that's, they're not all going to be perfect.
But in that scene, Jerry seduces Amy and Charlie doesn't notice for quite a while.
They start dancing, yeah.
For someone who's, being hunted by the undead, you'd think he'd keep a tighter watch on his girlfriend. But nope. And it is an interesting scene because how old do you think Amy's supposed to be in this movie? Like 16?
16 or 17, yeah.
The actress was 27. Unbelievable.
We experienced that with Fox. He was 25 playing a 17-year-old.
It is weird.
They did that a lot back then. I know that's always been the case. I know that we've always had older people play.
Well, that's because under 18, it's still child labor laws.
Exactly. So but it's just daunting sometimes to see like an actual 10-year gap
Yeah.
between character and actor.
And after that, Jerry takes Amy back to his house, and they have very steamy sex, and he turns her.
Yes, and she becomes a completely different looking.
I didn't think it was the same actress.
Neither did I. Looked it up. Yeah.
Like now it's hot Amy,
Yeah.
hot vampire Amy,
Which that would be funny on like IMDb if it just said Amy and then
Hot
vampire Amy,
hotter Amy,
different vampire, different person, different actor. Hilarious.
Amelia. I don't know. So the finale. Charlie talks to Peter about, I know, you saw this is real. He has Amy. I need your help. And Peter's like, fuck off. This is not, I am an actor. I do not kill vampires.
Actor, yeah.
Vampires are not real. Well, they are, but I don't deal with that. That's not my job. And Charlie, goes to deal with it. And Peter's like, fuck. And shows up with a kit. With like a kit of fucking movie props.
Full blown kit ready to go. First aid kit.
I do love that. I don't think I'd seen it in anything else. The idea that in order for a cross to work on a vampire, you need to have faith that it's going to work.
Yeah. To me, that's everything in horror is believing. If you believe it, then it's true. If you truly believe that you're possessed, then yeah, you're possessed. If you truly believe that you can burn somebody with a cross with your faith, then yes, you can. That whole philosophy of horror is like how I've always. I like ghost movies though, so like that's just how I am. Like you have to believe that shit. Like The Conjuring. You have to believe it to really. The Exorcist, yeah, all that stuff, yeah.
Well, the reason Peter finally is convinced is Ed shows up to his house and is like, "Hey, there's a vampire out here. Let me in." And he's like, "Ah." He's like, "Well, you made a mistake, old man." He turns and attacks Peter Vincent, and Peter burns him on the head with a cross.
Yeah.
And bolts. He realizes, even if he sits this out, he's still a threat.
Yeah.
He knows. And that's enough for Jerry.
So good.
So at the finale, you've got Charlie and Peter Vincent teaming up in at fucking dusk to fight the dead. And
yeah, good time to pick a battle. Yeah.
They go in there. They're going to go out the back, but the front door opens and they're like, well, fuck, he already knows we're here. They walk in. Jerry's on the banister. I do want to point out, what house in the burbs has a giant stained glass window? What the fuck? This is like
the pastor's house.
This is like LA. And there's a 15th century stained glass window over the stairs. That's amazing. Jerry's there, and he says, and the epic quote that was repeated in the remake, "Welcome to Fright Night." The way he rolls it is so cute. And he's like, "For real." And it's gonna fuck shit up.
Yeah, it's game time.
It's game time. Oh, and they try to use the cross, and he's like, "Ha, you have no faith."
Yeah, bitches.
But then they're like, "Back," and he's like, "Ah." It's actually kind of hilarious. His reaction is just like, "Ah."
The voice, yeah.
It's so oddly out of character.
Horror's done that so many times that we're like, we don't know how this guy needs to react. Ah! Just yelp.
Just yelp. Yep.
Ah!
Billy Cole shows up, and they start, they shoot him.
Billy Cole.
And he gets up.
Yeah.
And then they just keep
that
shooting.
Shit was wild, yeah.
They keep shooting him, and he
it
just
was
keeps
wild
walking.
Because when he gets back up, they use it again because he's coming up the stairs and he's behind him like.
Because at this point,
really creepy.
At that point, you still thought he was human. So now you're like, what the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, god damn it, they're everywhere.
And then Charlie, I think it's Charlie, stabs him in the chest with the piece of a picket fence.
Yes, pretty brutal.
Yeah, and he just dissolves.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Kind of like when you kill an orc on one of those Lord of the Rings video games.
Yeah.
Stab, excellent, and they just go away.
And he just explodes in rotten bones down the stairs.
Yes.
Makeup wise, it's fucking awesome.
Epic.
And something causes Peter to lose his fucking shit and bolt out the door. He goes over to the Brewster's house and finds Ed is there. And Ed turns into a wolf and attacks Peter. And Peter like Ed somehow gets stabbed with a chair leg, and Peter goes back to the house and is like, we got to take care of this. We got to do this. Charlie gets locked in the room with Amy, who's now a vampire, and he's like, no! It's a little dramatic.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Hey, this guy didn't really continue acting too much, so.
And we know we're jumbling events here, but
That's Fright Night.
That's Fright Night.
Does he look a little bit like Alan Ruck to you? The guy,
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Alan Ruck.
How dare you? Yeah.
I could... Mr. Peterson.
Yeah, Mr. Peterson.
Oh my God. Yeah, I could see that.
Just a little bit, which would have been awesome if Alan Ruck actually played him.
There was a weird, very like similar 80s teenager look that a lot of different actors had.
Oh, yeah.
Especially actresses.
With that side swoop hair.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the girls had short hair. Yeah.
The girls who had
Molly
short
Ringwald.
hair or like the big like hairspray hair.
Yes. Yeah.
And they were like, a lot of times they were like the main guy's best friend.
Yes.
Who actually like loved him.
Yep.
I just gave you a crash course in almost every 80s rom-com ever made.
Yes.
You're welcome.
That's about right. 80s comedies too, Ferris Bueller. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard the theory? I know this is completely off topic, but you brought up Alan Ruck, so that means it's on topic.
Fuck it. Everything's on topic.
Have you heard the theory that Ferris Bueller does not exist? That the whole movie is Cameron like losing his mind Fight Club style, and his like Ferris is his Tyler Durden.
Oh, that's genius.
It makes the film so much crazier.
Yeah. I actually like that a lot
Like,
better.
think of all the wild shit Ferris is able to get away with in that movie. He would be on the news. Like, that's a weird day. But if it's Cameron thinking all this shit is happening, it's a way different movie.
That's true.
And his part in the story ends when he trashes the Ferrari and is going to face his father. That's the end of the real movie. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
I like that a lot. Film theories are so much fun.
They're the best.
Yeah.
I love fan theories of films.
I try not to dig too deep because I'll get lost, and then I'll be like, "Oh, I should have watched a new movie."
True.
Oh, man.
So they manage to find their faith and fight back Jerry, who is now full vampire, and the sun is rising. And Jerry, takes off, like he turns into a bat and flies down the fucking
That
stairs.
shit was gnarly. I was not ready for that. Not ready for the pterodactyl/bat.
The pterodactyl.
Just, I wasn't ready for that at all. But it looks awesome.
Yeah, it just jumps Peter Vincent, and he like fights it off with a chair leg.
Yes.
It's fucking crazy.
That shit is awesome. Awesome decision to make in the middle of your finale. So badass.
Oh, brutal. Love it.
Yeah.
And Jerry goes back to the basement, gets in his coffin. They go down to the basement. Amy follows him. Charlie fights off Amy. Peter's trying to open the coffin. He opens the coffin. He hesitates. Jerry comes out and is like, fuck. To be fair, Jerry had so many opportunities to take them out, but his arrogance got ahead of him.
Yeah, he wanted to keep playing the game, yeah.
Yep. And that's how you get killed.
He's going for style points.
Yeah. And he did win for style.
Yeah.
That'd be a great Halloween costume. The gray trench coat with the red scarf and like some long fingernail extensions, some like red contacts.
I just, no one's as good looking as him, so it wouldn't. Yeah. You could try to do the Colin Farrell bit.
Well, like a green t-shirt, some moose. Oh my God. So yeah, they end up destroying the windows and just bringing the sun in, and the sun just fucks Jerry up. And when he died, Amy came back as a human.
Yes.
Which in vampire films, I always feel that's a cop out.
It is.
But I get it.
But yeah, you get it storytelling wise, yeah.
And in the end, she's finally willing to fuck Charlie. So everybody gets their happy ending.
Yeah, so that's the beginning of the movie is him trying to get laid. And then at the end of the movie, he gets laid. Yeah. So really, the whole movie is just about Charlie trying to get laid.
The entire movie is a metaphor for trying to fuck Amy.
Yes. Yeah, trying to finally, yeah. And,
Jerry is basically, a walking cockblock.
Yes.
That's what this is all about.
It's a metaphor, yeah, and, it's American Pie before American Pie. Like, it's that, yeah. Fright Night.
God damn.
I'm just kidding.
Fright Night.
No, it's much better than that. No.
Yeah.
No, but that's hilarious, though, that you kind of, it does begin and end that way. And horror's so funny with how it subconsciously is like distracting you and knows what it's doing, does this with a bunch of, tropes with sex, right? With Halloween, that stuff is fascinating to me, really funny, and an amazing trope to put inside your movie.
Oh, sweet, yeah. Peter somehow gets his job back.
Yeah.
Now he's, talking to Charlie. I love that because no one else is going to know who the fuck Charlie is. He's going to get viewer mail like, who's Charlie?
Yeah.
But
Charlie Brewster?
Yeah. I love Charlie sees those eyes at Jerry's house and he's like, what was that? Yeah. And Amy's immediately like, what's wrong? Like, there's no playing around anymore.
Shit.
They've been through hell.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's nothing. But what it is it's fucking evil Ed because Vincent missed the heart.
Exactly.
However, how come Amy became human? Ed didn't.
And not Ed.
Yeah.
That's just a decision they decided to make when writing the screenplay?
Well,
that's inconsistent.
If you're going to make up rules, you got to follow them. Those are the rules.
What are the rules?
Maybe it's because Amy didn't drink human blood, but Ed did. That could be it.
That could be. This movie seems thought out. I don't think they would have just been like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
There's got to be that. Yeah, there's got to be some reasoning.
I'm sure there is. But yeah, that's Fright Night. It's a great movie. It's so many great moments. I know we missed out a lot. Like, where the hell was Charlie's mom this whole time? The cops not giving a shit.
She's so attracted to
Jerry
that she just really doesn't care.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Ed pointed out. Apparently, she's working nights.
Yes, working nights.
Wonderful.
That's the point of a pop quiz.
Goddamn. His vampire acting was very good, though. I thought he was creepy.
Wild. With his hair.
I hope he brought that same kind of gusto and tenacity to his passion in life.
Yes.
I'm sure he did.
Yes. While grabbing life by the balls. Yeah.
Grabbing a lot of things by the balls. Here's some Filmgazm facts for you. Number 1, it was Chris Sarandon's idea to have Jerry eating apples throughout the film. While researching vampire lore, Sarandon looked at information about bats and concluded that Jerry had a lot of fruit bat in his DNA, and it actually makes him look scarier eating fruit all the time.
Oh, for sure. I've always thought, especially oranges, because we know what those are used for, when you put them in a sack and beat somebody up. So if you're just eating oranges, that's really creepy to me because do you have a lot of those? Like, is that something that you use? Because, we've seen it in movies. Have you seen The Grifters? It's used really well in that movie. Fargo, it's been used before. It's a great, gangster trope to use And so when I see, a guy eating oranges, I'm wondering, that guy probably doesn't just eat those. You'll see on Fargo soon with Chris Rock.
Oh my God. I have never made that connection in my life, but, the more I think about it, nobody just has one orange. There's always...
That's my point. I went about that in a roundabout way, Jesus Christ, but yes, oranges. Super creepy.
There's something about just walking around eating an apple, whole.
Oh, the sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something ominous and, pretentious about that.
100%. Well, and the whole thing. I mean, even something as simple as Captain Barbossa.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or, it's been used in movies. Apples. But that sound... Oh. But what's even weirder is if a guy just has a bag of grapes. The fuck is wrong with that guy? He just has a plastic bag and just eating them one by one. That would be really weird.
Or a bushel of bananas and just peeling
just
them.
One. You're that guy's gonna shit soon. Yeah.
He's got the bushel. They're all unpicked, and he's just peeling the peel off all of them, and then taking a big bite. I'd be terrified of that guy.
Yeah, God damn.
Anyone who's willing to eat 6 bananas at once is gonna fuck you up.
Exactly. That's a strong person. One of my favorite fruit bits while we're here is Charlie, and It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
When he eats the entire pear in 2 seconds, and Mac's like, "What? Did you eat the whole thing? The stem too? Yeah. Kind of tastes like sand."
That's one of my favorite episodes. I will consistently, whenever I'm in half price books or a flea market or something, just for kicks, I'll just go well, I'm obviously not going to pay full price. I will not pay full price.
And the person at the counter either is oh, good one, and they get it and we move on, or they're like, what? I refuse.
Beautiful. Number 2. Writer-director Tom Holland conceived the role of Peter Vincent with Vincent Price in mind. But Price's health was declining. He was trying to shy away from accepting horror roles by that point in his career. So this could have actually been Vincent Price versus Chris Sarandon, which would have been fucking amazing.
Incredible, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, you know, any of our longtime Filmgazm listeners know that Price holds a weirdly special place because of the, you know, first off the films, but him as a man, you know, that's something that we'll never get tired of, like, revisiting and going back to.
Oh, he was the bomb.
He's just kind of the shit.
He was a great person.
And it'd be really cool to have a guy like that in the horror community, like, right now. Just kind of a leader, a real true voice, and, you know, maybe we will soon.
The closest we've got, in my opinion, is Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
Solid guy, loves his job, loves
Cares
his
about
fans.
it.
Yeah, solid guy.
Authenticity, yeah.
Number 3. Originally, the script featured a radically different ending, which was revised prior to filming. As Charlie and Amy lie on the bed making out, Fright Night comes on TV. Peter Vincent declares, quote, "Tonight's creepy crawler is Dracula Strikes Again, obviously about vampires. You know what vampires look like, don't you? They look like this." Charlie and Amy are horrified as Peter begins to transform. Once his transformation into a vampire is complete, Peter stares into the camera, says, "Hello, Charlie," and then the picture freeze frames and the credits roll. As neat as that sounds, I'm glad they didn't do it.
Yeah, me too.
Because logically, it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah, no.
Especially since Charlie's the one who gets bit at the house, not Peter Vincent.
Exactly.
But, you know, I can understand them wanting to go for a shock ending, but I think what they ended up doing worked. Number 4, in 2015, when asked if he could do a sequel to any of his movies, ignoring existing reboots, for a YouTube fan questions video, writer-director Tom Holland replied that he'd like to do a follow-up to Fright Night, utilizing the original cast. His proposed plot was that single father Charlie Brewster inherits his mother's home, and soon after taking up residence, his 2 teenage children become convinced that there's something evil in the house next door, namely Evil Ed, who is squatting in the abandoned mansion, attempting to resurrect Jerry Dandridge.
Jesus.
I would watch the absolute hell out of that movie.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Oh, and speaking of Fright Night 2, there was one sequel, 1988's Fright Night Part 2. Roddy McDowall and William Ragsdale both return as Peter Vincent and Charlie Brewster as they face off against Jerry's demented sister, Regina, who wants revenge against them both. And I haven't seen this, as it is ridiculously hard to get a hold of this movie. It didn't get a wide theater distribution in 1988 because, get this, the chairman of the studio, Jose Menendez, was murdered by his sons. You may know them as the infamous Menendez brothers, who shot and killed their parents in 1989. Their dad was the head of Live Entertainment, which produced Fright Night 2. What the fuck?
That is insane.
As a result, the film got a limited release. It was basically dumped on video as an afterthought. Since then, DVDs and Blu-rays of this film are very hard to find, and it's unavailable to stream anywhere. So there's a very good chance I may never get to watch Fright Night 2, which is very tragic to me.
That sucks.
Fright Night itself has been like very hard to get a hold of on DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah, I've never. That's why it's kind of taken me so long. I waited until it was on the show.
Yeah,
just borrow it from you. But
I don't get why this movie isn't so insanely more popular.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna advocate for it. I would give it a solid 8, and it's something that I'm gonna revisit and could rise. Dude, this is one of the better vampire movies, hands down.
It's a fun watch. The remake came out in 2011. Was actually pretty good. It was directed by Craig Gillespie, who directed Lars and the Real Girl, would go on to direct I, Tonya. Mm-hmm. Stars Colin Farrell as Jerry Dandridge, Anton Yelchin as Charlie Brewster, Christopher Mintz-Plasse as Evil Ed, Imogen Poots as Amy, Toni Collette as Charlie's mom, and David Tennant as Peter Vincent. It was a modest success, but it is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with 72%. And coming from a horror film purist who usually hates remakes, this is actually a pretty decent film.
Yeah, we brought it up earlier, and I really do think it's worthwhile.
It isn't a shot-for-shot remake. It actually does add a lot to the mythos. I love the idea of setting it in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Just, a town where people are going to be just asleep during the day, walking around at night, going to randomly disappear. Yep. That's fucking brilliant.
It's perfect.
Colin Farrell, I liked his take on Jerry. I thought it was a lot more sinister, but he still has that same charm. Loved it. I love that Toni Collette
definitely does, yeah.
Actually brought some depth to Charlie's mom, made her less of a obstacle and more of an actually contributed to the plot.
Yes.
I thought David Tennant as a Chris Angel mind freak Peter Vincent was so fucking cool.
David Tennant's great.
David Tennant's the man. I love him.
Guy's great. Oh, Mella.
Yeah. So it has its own sequel, 2013's Fright Night 2, but it was direct-to-video, features none of the cast, so why bother talking about it? The movie is just... I looked at like parts of it. It looks so cheaply made, so horrible.
I hate that shit.
Ugh. But yeah, if you have time, Fright Night, the remake, is actually pretty good. Check it out.
Yeah, I agree.
I give Fright Night, the original, a solid 10. It's one of my favorite horror movies, one of my favorite vampire movies, if not my all-time favorite, honestly.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It might be my favorite. I like Near Dark a lot, but this is not a genre that would churn out a lot of 10s.
I know.
The vampire genre, so yeah, it's special when it does.
Well, it's been, like, there's some landmark films, but overall, I think people have leaned way more towards, like, the sexy side of vampires instead of the scary side of vampires, so there's not a lot of good vampire horror films out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's more profitable to market, Jennifer's Body than it is to market, a different take on it where it actually does feel scary. Yeah.
Like, it's always bothered me in movies how Dracula is portrayed as this, like, romantic figure who just wants love and is, like, seducing women. Like, if you've read Dracula, he's a fucking monster from beginning to end.
Weird.
There's no seduction in the book. He is just trying to kill and reproduce as much as he can.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this idea of Dracula as a romantic figure, where did that come from?
Oh, money, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
For marketing, yeah.
I don't remember it in the Lugosi Dracula, but it's certainly all over the Oldman Dracula. But Jerry, he's my Dracula.
Yeah, me too.
So to prove whether Fright Night is my all-time favorite, Austin has set up a tournament of sorts featuring most of the vampire movies that I have seen in my lifetime so far. We're going to go through them, and I'm going to choose my favorites and end up with a solid favorite vampire movie ever.
Yes.
And disclaimer, as of this recording, I have not seen Let the Right One In, Interview with the Vampire, Only Lovers Left Alive, The Hunger, or John Carpenter's Vampires. So I don't expect to see them. However, all of those films are in the book, so they will come up eventually.
Yes, but we do have 16 movies altogether.
Yes, indeed.
Which is quite a lot for a subgenre. And we'll call this one the Vampire Cup. Starting off, this is, Connor gave me in order his favorites, so I tried to order them very randomly. You know what's going to be there at the end, but it's about the journey. It's about the journey.
And who knows? Maybe I'll have second thoughts.
There's been some upsets in the past.
There have
been upsets. All right. First matchup, we got The Last Man on Earth versus Dracula, 31.
All right. So, The Last Man on Earth, Vincent Price, adaptation of the novel I Am Legend by... Oh, shit. I know his name. Oh, man, this is... Oh, son of a bitch. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
No, I know this guy.
Novel with the same name, Richard...
Son of a... We're not continuing until I get this. Richard Matheson. God damn it. Oh, Sean, if you hear this, I am so sorry.
Richard Matheson, why do I know that? God damn it, I'm such an idiot. I know that. You don't take shit from nobody. We don't take no prisoners.
Goddamn.
No, we don't take no for an answer.
It's a clip-on. Are you sure?
Richard.
Damn it. So yeah, I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. The Last Man on Earth stars Vincent Price as, well, the last man on Earth, surrounded by vampires who all see him as the boogeyman.
Yeah.
Dracula 1931 is the first popular version of Dracula. Bela Lugosi defined the role. However, I found Dracula 31 to be a really boring movie, so I'm going to go The Last Man on Earth.
All right.
I found that entertaining. Love me some Vincent Price. And I just think Dracula 31 does not have much to it. It's like an hour 20, and nothing happens. It's a very, very dull movie.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
We'll move to the other side of the bracket here, and start at the top with Salem's Lot versus Fright Night 2011.
We've done Salem's Lot in the past, the original miniseries from 1979, based on the epic novel by Stephen King. However, the miniseries is pretty weak. Barlow is a fucking shell of who he's supposed to be. The cast is pretty forgettable, whereas the Fright Night remake, as we just discussed, is a pretty entertaining movie. So, Fright Night.
Easy enough. All right. That would bring us to Underworld versus Horror of Dracula.
Interesting. So, Underworld is a film I credit with kind of revamping this genre.
Yes.
Epic battle between werewolves and vampires that has been raging for centuries, and Kate Beckinsale plays Celine, a vampire assassin who discovers some vast conspiracy. And that was pretty good. Horror of Dracula is Christopher Lee's first stab at playing Dracula, produced by the Hammer Horror Company. Really messes with the story. Van Helsing is on some kind of personal vendetta. It's very weird. That film was such an odd Underworld.
Underworld.
It's been a long time since I saw that, but I fucking love Bill Nighy and I love Michael Sheen. Yeah, that was a good movie.
Oh yeah. All right. We got it. Here's a fun one. Dracula 92 versus From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh boy. Dracula 92. All right. So there's some things I like about this movie, but there's a lot I don't like. And I just talked about how much I hate how they romanticize Dracula. And this movie did it worse than anybody. But Gary Oldman really kills it as Dracula. But Keanu Reeves, who I usually really like, fucking ruins that movie.
He's terrible.
Why in the hell they would ever cast Keanu as a British guy? Are you kidding?
Know.
Are you kidding me?
Don't know.
Jesus Christ. Whereas From Dusk Till Dawn, you got Tarantino and Rodriguez, you've got Clooney, you've got Keitel, you've got Lewis, you've got Danny Trejo, you've got Tom Savini. From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah. I mean,
Jesus
we
Christ.
did that. We did that a few months ago?
Yeah.
2-3 months ago.
That was good. That was a fun one.
Oh yeah. Here's an interesting matchup. Movie we covered early on the Roman Polanski podcast episode. Fearless Vampire Killers versus Near Dark, 1987.
Oh boy. So, Fearless Vampire Killers is a travesty. That movie
silly.
Is ridiculous. There's one part of that movie there's one part I like, and it's where they're being chased and they both grab swords off the wall and make a big cross.
That was pretty funny.
That made me laugh, but the rest of that movie's fucking garbage.
It's pretty silly, yeah.
Near Dark is a badass modern day Western with vampires, and Bill Paxton maybe his greatest performance ever. So yeah, Near Dark.
Exactly. Yes. I couldn't agree more. I think this one will be pretty easy for you. Blade versus Vampire's Kiss.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
Or Blade. One of the most badass 90s movies.
Yeah. The first real hit from Marvel versus one of the worst movies Nicolas Cage ever did. And these days, that is really saying something. Blade. That's not even a discussion.
Yep.
Although Vampire's Kiss is one I would love to do on this podcast one day, because that movie is ridiculous and just super uncomfortable at times.
God. Absolute mess. Nicolas Cage deserves about 8 episodes of his own.
Yeah. We could do an entire podcast series on that man alone. The amount of films he churns out per month. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, there's been years where it's like, oh my God, that guy. This one's interesting. I don't think it's really close at all for either of us, but it is an interesting matchup. That would be The Lost Boys, 1987, and What We Do in the Shadows.
It has been a long time since I saw The Lost Boys, and I think my disdain for Kiefer Sutherland is what keeps me from going back into it. And honestly, Corey Feldman too.
Oh yeah,
I don't have a beef with Corey Haim, but him too. Just that movie's just so weak compared to the other vampire movies that were happening around it. That one just kind of, I don't get the love. It's such a weird.
It's so frustrating that that's the one that people hold on to now. Like, that's the one.
You've got Fright Night, Near Dark, and Lost Boys, and that's the one that's become like the biggest cult classic. I don't get it. Whereas What We Do in the Shadows is one of the funniest goddamn movies I've seen in years.
Yeah.
And it's just Taika Waititi as a weird vampire trying to live his life in Wellington. Yeah.
It has an argument to be the funniest movie of the decade.
I can see that. Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows takes it by a landslide.
Yeah. All right.
That's hilarious.
This would be the last matchup of the first round. Saved Fright Night 1985 versus 30 Days of Night.
Well, I think we just spent an hour talking about how much we love Fright Night. 30 Days of Night had such a brilliant concept, but was so poorly executed, I thought. And the idea of vampires, attacking this town where the sun only rises every 30 days, that's an awesome idea. But I'm not really a Josh Hartnett fan.
Me neither.
And I thought Danny Houston was wasted as the bad guy.
Yeah.
I thought the idea that they had their own language was weird. And yeah, I thought that movie was just very forgettable. So obviously Fright Night.
Oh, yeah. It is a bit jumbled.
Imagine if I just went, 30 Days of Night.
Classic.
Would completely undermine everything I just fucking said.
That's hilarious. All right, let's go back to the other side. Talk about Fright Night 2011 versus Blade.
Oh, you bastard.
From here on out, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Damn.
The Elite Eight.
Yeah. As much as I do enjoy the Fright Night remake, Blade is on a different level. That movie is so special to me and such a badass horror movie, badass action movie. So definitive, like important in my own life. Blade.
Gotta be.
Absolutely.
Gotta be. Good call. All right, let's stay on that side of the bracket and go From Dusk Till Dawn versus What We Do in the Shadows.
You got two very different kinds of comedy with that.
Yes.
Because From Dusk Till Dawn is very tongue-in-cheek, but it is very serious. Whereas What We Do in the Shadows is just goofy and hilarious and just embraces what it is.
Oh.
Damn, that's a tough one. With that, I really think it comes down to what do I feel like watching, when I want to watch one of those movies. I don't think either one of those is better than the other.
Yeah.
I do love them both, but I have to go with What We Do in the Shadows.
All right, I like it.
Sorry to you Tarantino fans out there, I know, but yeah.
Sometimes you gotta be honest with yourself.
You gotta kill your darlings, man.
Gotta be honest with yourself. I'm very curious about this one. It'd be Near Dark 1987 versus Underworld.
All right.
Beckinsale versus Bigelow.
Beckinsale versus Bigelow. Paxton versus Sheen. Henriksen versus Nye. Whoever played that Craven dude versus whoever played John Connor's stepmom in T2. I don't remember their names. Damn. All right, so it's been a good minute since I saw Underworld. And Near Dark I just watched for the first time when we did the podcast a few months ago.
Yeah.
Underworld has the werewolf side of it. It's got a really cool story. I do love Underworld 2 more. God damn, that's a tough.
It's tough.
That is tough. I'm sorry, I gotta go Underworld.
Underworld makes it to the final four.
I thought that movie did wonders with bringing vampires back into the mainstream. And I thought it was just a really cool idea.
Hell yeah. We got Fright Night 1985 versus The Last Man on Earth. Which is funny.
Yeah. Vincent Price.
Yep.
The role you could have had. Could have been Price versus Price. I'm going to go, Fright Night. Last Man on Earth is really good, but it does not hold a candle.
No, it's got to be Fright Night, right?
Yeah.
Which would send it to the final four, setting up a matchup on the other side of the bracket between Blade and What We Do in the Shadows.
I would love to see a combo of that movie.
Yes.
Blade just knocks down their doors, starts fucking them up.
Mashup, yeah. You guys make vampires look bad, yeah. Oh, it's nighttime. Oh, man.
I just think you would enjoy a sandwich more if you knew no one had fucked it. Anyway.
Yeah, just clean this up.
Yeah, it's Blade.
Blade.
Yeah, that movie's just so dear to my heart. And it's so grisly. Like, unforgiving. The first movie is so brutal. Such a brutally, just horrific horror movie. I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. I love it. Blade's so good. Might be my favorite of all these movies. I don't know. It's hard.
I know.
And Fright Night versus Underworld.
Yeah, Fright Night.
Fright Night. Underworld, good run. Good
run.
run.
Underworld's great.
Underworld took down Horror of Dracula and Near Dark to make it to the final four. So
Underworld's just an entertaining flick. And it's, the sequels are okay. 2's pretty good, but yeah.
Let's do a third place match between What We Do in the Shadows and Underworld.
Okay.
Would it be What We Do?
It would be.
So it makes Underworld got fourth place. Hey, that's
pretty good.
You're walking away with no medals, but hey, you made some noise.
Here's your, discount coupon to the Sizzler.
and we have a championship round between what I knew and you knew to be your two favorites.
I knew this was going to happen.
Fright Night versus Blade.
Fright Night versus Blade. It's not fair. It's not fair. Oh, goddamn. Okay, I'm going to have to analyze this. Okay.
Explain it to yourself. Just talk yourself through it.
These are the two films that have influenced my work more than anything else. Fright Night and Blade. Oh, god damn it. Jerry Danders versus Deacon Frost. Charlie Brewster versus Abraham Whistler.
Yeah.
Peter Vincent versus Karen. got that weird zombie guy. You got Quinn, who just keeps on coming. You
can't get him away.
can slice him, you can dice him, but the Quinn man just keeps on coming. I fucking love Donald Logue. Goddamn. Blade. Hands down, one of my favorite episodes we've done on this show.
Oh yeah,
has been Blade. But Fright Night has also been a goddamn good time.
I've had some fun. Yeah, this has been fun.
Oh, son of a bitch. This isn't fair. This is like having to pick between like your two favorite kids. It's not, I'm sorry, Marvel. It's Fright Night.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I knew it. Yeah.
I feel bad.
You gave it a 10. It's got to be Fright Night.
Blade will go home with a copy of the home game.
Yeah. You can go home knowing.
I love Blade to death. Fright Night has been
it's
been a part of my life for longer, and it's like just such a fantastic, well put together horror film.
The Champ, Fright Night, 1985. Get your asses on the couch and watch it.
Absolutely. Oh, that was fun. God damn. And I had a lot of, other ones didn't make the cut, like Daybreakers and the little vampire, just weird ones,
Random shit, yeah.
But I went with, the best of the best, the ones that would make
Hotel Transylvania, of course, yeah.
I haven't actually seen that, no.
Of course.
Duh. Thank you for listening. I hope
Hotel Transylvania 2.
I've seen a good chunk of 3 because I had to work at a draft house.
I was going to say, surely one of those was during your run. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
Hope you enjoyed this one. We certainly did. If you enjoy this podcast, you want to see it evolve into something even better, feel free to donate anything you want to the cause. Every little bit goes right back into the show, allows us to make everything better, get new equipment, rent the movies.
Yeah, see more stuff.
If you want to donate, head to the Filmgazm podcast page on whatever your podcast platform is. Click on support this podcast in the description. If you choose to do that, thank you very much. If you don't, we understand, but we hope we're gonna convince you someday.
Yeah, for sure. And we want to use every bit of anything for renting stuff or getting an Apple TV Plus subscription. Shit like that because we want to keep watching.
We've got big plans for next year, and every little bit helps.
Yeah.
So, obviously, next week is Halloween. And last year, we, of course, tackled Carpenter's classic 1978 Halloween. So we're going to keep that tradition going. And this year, for the week of Halloween, we're diving into 1981's Halloween 2.
Yes.
Laurie Strode is in the hospital after her horrific night of murder, violence, and fright. But Michael is not finished yet. He tracks her to the hospital and starts killing everyone he can find to get to her, all leading to a shocking revelation that connects Michael and Laurie deeper than we ever thought. Personally, I thought it was stupid, but, we're going to talk about it.
Hell yeah.
Tune in next week to hear more. And if your next door neighbor is a vampire, maybe try and go kill him during the day. But then again, only if you are sure. See you next Wednesday.